Nana Chats. Thank you again for coming back this week to join us. And today we have Vanessa over here.
Hi everybody. Hi.
Who'll be talking about her journey moving from the UK to Dubai as a teacher. But guys, today is the finale. So this is basically the last one of this season. So it'll be good to end on this note. And hopefully you guys will get some nuggets from this if you're thinking to move. So yeah, let's get right into it. So by the way, guys, Vanessa's currently in Dubai. We're not sure when she's coming back. We're not sure she's ever coming back, but hopefully she'll come back and join us because we miss her.
By the way, I am coming back. It's just taking longer than I expected.
So guys, just to let you know, she's been saying this for the last 5 years, but hey. So my first question to you is, what made you move to Dubai?
Okay, so what made me move to Dubai? I think at the point of teaching 3 years, taught in Brixton, I loved it, loved the people, but I just kind of wanted to spread my wings a little bit. And also, let's be honest, money. That was my main thing. I could go to another school in the UK, but I just knew that I wouldn't get the same amount of money that I would be getting if I had traveled. So my journey was a bit difficult because I thought, would I go to a country that would be tax-free, or would I go to a country that I would be fulfilling, my dream as a teacher and helping loads of children? So really and truly, it was about the money because I had to, save and things like that and invest.
What made you specifically choose Dubai?
I hadn't been to the country before, and I had spoken to a few of my friends who worked at my school in Brixton, and we were really close, and they said they were moving out to Dubai. So I said, you know what, I'm going to keep in contact with you, see, you guys test the waters for me, see what it's like. And they sold it. They sold the country, they sold the lifestyle, they sold the fact that you could travel, the fact that you can save, the fact that you can invest. And I just wanted a piece of that pie, to be honest.
Nice. To become a teacher in Dubai, what kind of qualifications do you actually need?
So, being a teacher in Dubai would be the same anywhere in the world. You have to have the teaching standards qualifications. So I do work in a British curriculum school. So for me, I have to ensure that I have a PGCE, and I have to also ensure that I'm an NQT as well. So QTS, these are all acronyms. You can Google it if you need it. But it's basically a postgraduate in education. And then the QTS is like a quality teaching standards that gives you the right to teach in the British curriculum school. If you go to a Swiss school or a French school or an American school, you have to have the qualifications for that country to teach in Dubai. But there isn't one specifically for Dubai.
Oh wow, so there's actually different different country schools, if that makes sense.
Yeah, there's several. You've got French, American, you've got Japanese schools out here, because you've got to think there's a lot of expats and they come with their children, and so some parents and families don't want to send their children to a British curriculum school. They want to send their children to a French school, things that they're used to.
Oh, that's I didn't know that. I find that so weird.
Or IB school, that's the international baccalaureate or something like that. That's an international curriculum, actually. That's a good one. So in a lot of European countries.
So do they have like a specific school for just Dubai people?
So it's split in two ways. It's like you have your private schools, which most expat people are at, and then you've got your ministry education schools where you have predominantly the local people that are there, and they're called Emiratis, just in case. The Emiratis there. Now, my school is a private school, but it's heavily Emirati based, just because of the ethos that they have, yeah.
That's so cool. I really didn't know that. That's interesting, actually. So in Dubai, would you say that there's opportunity to progress in the same way as you would in the UK in terms of the teaching ladder?
I can tell you my journey as an example. So I came as a teacher with early years experience, and I started off in year 1, and then I went to year 2, and then I was promoted to a year leader, which means I was in charge of a year group. and the schools out here are very big, but I'll explain that later. And then I was promoted to a phase leader, which meant I was in charge of like a complete phase. And then I was promoted to an assistant head. So that kind of shows you how quick you can move up in the teaching ladder game or things like that. Definitely in Dubai, I feel that there's more room for promotion and there's more room to elevate yourself in your career than there is back at home. Just because the schools are just way bigger than they are back in the UK. And also, if you show yourself to be, capable and you can handle it and you're inspiring to be, in leadership, then they're more than welcome to take that on board.
That's really cool. Anyway, so in the times that we're in, I feel like I have to ask this question. You said that there's quite room for you to move. Did you feel any type of way as a Black person in Dubai moving up? Did you feel like there's a struggle? You face the same struggles you would in this country as you would in Dubai?
I'm actually glad you asked this question because we've had our peaks and troughs in Dubai with regards to like discrimination and race and equity or equality amongst the Black community. In my particular school, I can speak well for because I came as the second Black person in that whole school. And so a lot of people say to me and another colleague of mine as we're the ones that paved the way for a lot of people of color in our school. Now, my school is a lot more diverse than other schools, believe it or not. And again, I was the first Black person to go into leadership and the first Black person to be in senior management. So for me, God has really been on my side regarding that. Whereas in other schools, it's not the same. There is a big discrimination amongst race. There's a big discrimination amongst the race, amongst the actual local people themselves. And especially with things that are going on right now, we as a school and we as a community in the UAE are really trying to do our best to educate our children as much as possible and giving them diversity, exposure to diversity, because they need to know that they are people of color, which sometimes isn't always addressed in the classroom or in the organization. So for us, it's really important that there are people of color in education in a country like this.
That's crazy that you take a plane across the world and there's still discrimination no matter where you come from.
The thing is, it's when you come out here, discrimination is on so many different levels because you find that there is, and I don't know if I can say it, but there is modern day slavery. There is modern day slavery where you've got nannies and things like that, and they're from different countries, and most of them are people of color. So you have discrimination amongst that, and then you have a discrimination amongst the workforce. I've had experiences where they want to know exactly where I'm from, or they want to know I'm British. If I'm British, then that's better than if I was just me as a Black person. And that shouldn't be enough, It's sad. But you have to think, the UAE is a lot younger as a country than the rest of the world. So they're quite behind. Those things. It's not an excuse though. It's definitely not an excuse, but they are quite behind.
At least it's good that you're trying to educate people like in your classrooms and stuff, because that's where a lot of people fail. Like a lot of people think, this is the past, and then like obviously as you say, it's like institutionalized. Well, you didn't say that, but it's like institutionalized racism. It's systemic. It's all in the brain. Yeah. Like it's learned behavior that you don't. You might subconsciously not know you're doing. So it's quite important that you can educate people. Really. That's really
we've had also teachers who have agreed that there is systemic racism happening in our country and have actually addressed senior leadership, senior management teams, and I think it's for us to know that. If you have, experienced racism, then you need to speak up as opposed to just letting it brush off your shoulder, because that's what we were used to doing. If it happens in your classroom, there's someone that you need to report to. And I think everything that's happened in the world has really been like red flags and has highlighted what we need to do in our policies, our procedures, and all of the protocols that we have in our school to ensure that people are able to, you know, highlight these things so that we can address them appropriately.
Yeah. I guess it's important because I guess whilst the world is listening, or I like to think the world is listening, and it's time to kind of take advantage of that, because majority of the time or in the past, it looks like they're listening, but they're not. So I guess it's just time to kind of be active where we can, really. What is the pay like, and is it worth it?
Okay, the pay. Everyone wants to know about the pay.
Of course.
Do you know, it depends on, and I always say this when I speak to teachers, you have to think about what are you currently on where you are in the UK, right? And then you think about that minus the tax. And then you say, right, okay, the minimum I can accept is probably that amount minus the tax, you know, the net, right? I know in the UK, you've got to factor in accommodation, all of these other perks that just drain your money. Whereas in the UAE, you don't have that tax for us, fortunately for us. You don't have tax. So you can think about, okay, I do get more money. Now, some people have said, oh, you can earn up to $65,000 a year or something like that. But it really depends on the post that you have and the school that you go to. I think on average, a teacher will probably make about 50K. Yeah, a good teacher will make about 50K, and you've got to think that's tax free. That's good money.
Is that 50K in pounds? Yeah.
Pound, yeah. Like, yeah, you could. That's good money, but that's a good school, and it's a good package. And also, if the school gives you accommodation, then you could be taking that sort of money. Whereas in other schools, you might not get that much, but when you finish your time, you get this thing called gratuity, where they give you like a bonus to say thank you for working in the UAE, and that might be a lot more. So it's really, you have to look at the package. Like I'm just, without talking about my pay, I'm trying to think about how much one can get paid.
Guys.
I would say like 7 years ago, there were teachers that were probably getting £2,000 a month. And I believe that has gone up, but you know, COVID has had a massive knock on the economy, and in the UAE as well. If people have lost their jobs, they haven't been able to have their increment. But then if you get into management and things like that, you can get £4,000, £5,000, £6,000 a month possibly. And you think if that's tax free, that's good money. But I'm not telling you how much I get paid.
Fine. We just know you're rich and you're buying our tickets to come over, so we're good with that. We'll accept that. But yeah, that seems like it's worth it. I'm obviously in the wrong country. Jeez.
It's worth it. It is worth it. But like I say, for advice to people, you have to make sure you know what the package is.
Yeah.
The package they're offering you, because some people leave jobs in the UK and get less money. But then if you think about it, you're getting an accommodation. You're having a holiday destination every weekend. Food is expensive. Livelihood is expensive. But if you work around and find good deals, you're fine. You know, there's some people that have really saved a lot of money being out here.
So I want to know, did you find a job there before you left? Or did you go and then find a job?
No. No. I definitely found a job before I left. I used, if people are looking, TES. I used tes.co.uk to find a job. There's loads. My school's always advertising. There's loads of jobs on there. And I was toying between working in Tanzania, Nigeria, or Dubai at the time, because I got 3 jobs, thank God. And I chose Dubai.
Nice.
Some people have come out here and found a job, but it's a lot harder because of visas and things like that.
So my other question is, why is it that, because like you mentioned before, they have schools that's like French based or British and so on and so forth. Why are there so many international schools? Why is it?
Because Dubai is an international hub. There are so many different nationalities in this country. Like, to be honest, I haven't got the stats. It's such a shame. I should have probably brought the stats. But the amount of actual Emiratis I know is 30% of the UAE. So the majority of them are actually expats. Don't quote me on that in case anyone is going to look and say, yeah. But I do know it's substantially less. So if you've got a country that are full of expats, then you have to market to the people that the demographic that is there, you know, definitely.
That's so true. I know you mentioned about like some places, like some jobs come with accommodation, but was it difficult? Did your job come with it? Have you ever had to look for one?
For me, it wasn't difficult because my school did provide me with one, and I kind of liked the area just because it's a lot quieter, which means I won't spend as much money and things like that. However, there are some schools that don't provide accommodation. What they give you is a housing allowance. And so they tell you to look for your accommodation. And I've got quite a few friends who've moved out of the school accommodation and have found their own places, like in the Marina or on the Palm, or on the Palm, or where is it? Like downtown next to the Burj Khalifa, you know, because they all were able to put their money together and get a really plush apartment. But me, I love to live by myself. I like my own space. So it wasn't hard. It's not hard. Especially now, it's not hard because a lot of people have moved back home. So that means there's a lot of empty apartments which need to be filled. But I would say 2 years ago, it would have been quite difficult and the market was quite high.
I was going to ask, what are the prices like? Is it quite expensive or?
Let me think. I know that there's a place, let's say, quite close down to downtown, which is near the Burj Khalifa. It ranges. It depends on it depends on the development. But they have paid 120,000, not pounds, 120,000 dirhams for the year, and that's rent. So that's quite cheap. Okay, so that's 30,000 rent.
Oh, actually,
Rent.
that's still quite a lot.
You think?
But how big is the?
It's like a 2-bedroom. You've got like floor to ceiling windows around. You've got ensuite. You've got chiller, so all of the white goods are provided. Like it's plush places. My place is quite homely, and it's quite old and rustic. Whereas those sort of houses are, you know, shiny and glitzy and glamoury and all that.
I think if I was there, I don't think they're shiny and glitzy.
They don't speak to me. They don't speak to me. Honestly, I like a homely place that I can just talk. People tend to move for the area. Like let's say if I said, oh, I live in Murdiff. Okay, well, what's Murdiff? Okay, I live next to the Burj Khalifa. Oh my gosh, you live next to the Burj Khalifa. Wow. And that's what you pay for.
Yeah, I guess so. Cool. Because you've been in Dubai so long, do you think you'd be coming to the UK permanently? And do you think, because you've been out there so long, how do you think it's going to be to readjust?
Gosh, that's a hard question. That is a very, very hard question. And I haven't spoken to my family about it. But no, I'm joking. I'm joking. Do you know, I don't actually see myself staying in the UK for a long period of time, like for the rest of my life. I do definitely, the UK is my home, 100%. But I need things to settle. They need to know what they're doing first so that it benefits me. Whereas before I would have been like, no, you know, I'm going home definitely. But technology, God giving me the opportunity to fly back and forth has made me think, does the UK actually have to be my home? Is it a part of my vision overall? And at the moment, I don't see it as a part of my vision. Whereas I see sun, not Dubai, but I see sun as a part of my vision somewhere where I'm, you know, with houses and things like that. I don't see the UK. But that's just me now. come 10 years, I'll probably be back at home, chilling.
I actually don't see that happening.
And people say that, like at first I was definitely like, no way, no way, no way. But I've just seen so many of us move out and be able to survive. Like the UK isn't the end. The UK is not the end, honestly.
So I met a friend of a friend at a birthday party, and she had recently moved back from Dubai, and she was just like, I'm not sure like what life is in the UK anymore. So
Yeah. Like I thought every time I go back every year, at least like once or twice, and I think, oh, things are the same, things are the same, things are the same. But actually to reside back in the UK, I don't know if things will actually be the same and whether I would be able to stay there for the rest of my life. I would have that urge to travel and not a 2-week thing. I would have that urge to experience a different country and the culture and be a part of it, you know? It might be Africa next. Who knows?
I guess that's the cool thing about venturing out, because then you know that this is just not your surroundings. There's other things in the world that you can do. You can survive anywhere, really. It doesn't have to be in the country that you were born in, really. So
Definitely, I agree with you. Definitely.
what would you say is the benefits of living in Dubai overall?
The benefits of me moving out to Dubai by myself is really learning about myself. I think I was very dependent on family and things like that. But moving out here, I really had to become dependent on myself and know myself and do what's right for me. It also opened my eyes to the financial world. And even though as a teacher, I'm not really around money per se, but it really opened your eyes to business and what you could bring back to the UK or to different countries. My eyes, I don't think, would have been open to that had I been in the UK still. Because when you come out here and you see the architecture, you see the way people are living, you see like money, you see real money, like real money. And it's not like the materialistic things. I'm just talking about just how someone is walking through the mall and you know that person's money. Like, it kind of just makes you think, do you know what? I'm capable of having that. I'm capable of being a part of that. Why not? And I think that's what I learned the most. Yeah, about me, business world, financially, and also what am I capable of doing? I'm definitely not limited. I feel like I can achieve so much more. And had I still been in the UK, I don't know if I'd see myself like that.
So I guess sometimes in life you just really just have to throw yourself out and venture out, because you just never know if you don't really. And how is it living in Dubai as a woman? Is it any different to the UK?
We're going down this route. Okay, so living in Dubai as a woman is similar to living in the UK as a woman. It's just in the UK probably it's a little bit more liberal, whereas in Dubai, I would say the ratio of men to women is very, very low. So you got a lot, sorry, high. So you got a lot of women in comparison to men.
So apart from teacher, I know that like your main focus is in teaching and stuff. Are there loads of other job opportunities in Dubai for people who want to move over?
I mean, in any country, there are jobs. If there's something that needs to be done, there's a job for it. But when it comes to well-paid jobs, the typical professional jobs are the ones that are well-paid, like the lawyers and all of that. Lawyers get a lot of money. So if there's a lawyer that wants to come out and get some money, Dubai is a place to be. But then, like, you know, like craftsmanship and things like that, where in the UK you probably would have paid quite well. You know, construction men, they're paid quite well in the UK. It's not the same out here because they have a lot of Pakistanis, Asian, Indians, that they would pay a lot less to do the same work. So it's quite hard, that particular field. Anything to do with business, anything to do with project management, there are jobs out here. Just because at the moment it's Expo 2020, where they're having a massive expedition to promote business and innovation and things like that. So they have needed project management for such things, or they've needed architects, or they've needed like all of these things to be filled, and they would prefer expats than possibly their own people. So there are jobs.
Obviously, you've been in Dubai for a while. I wanted to ask how you went about your getting a visa to stay there, and do you have to like renew it every so often? What do you have to do to stay in the country?
Because I'm in the teacher profession, the education sector, most companies that are in the education sector, they have to pay their employees their visas. They have to be the ones responsible for, sorting out the visas. A lot of companies are actually responsible for the visas for their employers, but I do know in the private sector, in the business world, they have to sort out their own visa, and your visa lasts for 2 years. And the visa process is quite interesting actually, because you have to send in the correct pictures, correct background and all of that, and then they take your blood and they check to see if you have tuberculosis as well, because that's prohibited in the country, and then you're on file, and then every 2 years you get it renewed. But if you're at a school, the school organizes that for you. Different companies do it, and I think I saw on Groupon somewhere that they've been able to do it for you for a certain amount of money, maybe about £400.
Sorry, I was just giggling because you said tuberculosis is prohibited. I mean, who wants that in their country? Like,
they just don't want it. I mean, if you have tuberculosis, AIDS, or anything like that, you get deported straight.
So what exactly are they testing? I'm quite shocked about the blood test. What are they testing for in your blood test? Is it just a general blood test, or is it specific things?
No, they're checking for HIV. Anything else? Oh, they also do check to see if you have THC, which is associated with smoking cannabis. So they check that. Yeah.
That's quite an intense screening process just for a visa.
Yeah, I think when you come out the first time, it is a bit daunting, and you're thinking, you're taking my blood, you're taking everything away from me. When you're 3-4 years down the line, just like, I need my visa because I need to travel.
Wow, that's interesting.
There have been some people that haven't received their visa, and they have to do visa runs. So they have to drive to Oman, or they have to fly out the country and fly back, because your visa lasts for 30 days.
Wow. 30 days?
30 days temporary visa.
Wow. How was it moving away from your friends and family? Was it easy to just up and go, or did you feel like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to see you again? I miss you.
Do you know what? I thought it was so weird when I first was like, okay, yeah, this is real. This is actually real. I'm leaving. I bought a one-way ticket, right? I bought a one-way ticket to Dubai, thinking, yeah, I'm never going to go back. And even on the plane, like, all my friends came to see me off at, the airport. My family came, and I didn't even cry. Like, and I'm an emotional person. I did not cry at all. I think it was just because it was a new chapter for my life, and I was just like, this is amazing. Oh my goodness, I'm going to a country by myself. Like, normally when I'm traveling, I'm scared of losing my passport. So I was like, I'm going to a different country. I'm going to have my own place. So I didn't have time for the tears. I think I was probably a bit teary on the plane. But it's only until I lost my first phone in Dubai that I was devastated. And I think I was just so upset and so homesick, because that's my one tool to keep in touch with my friends and family. So, I wasn't upset leaving, but that's because I knew that technology was just so advanced, that we can actually communicate at any time. But if I didn't have that, I'd probably be really upset. And I knew I'd fly back. So it was fine.
And now you're just used to it.
I'm used to playing, even though I don't like flying. I actually don't like flying.
So my last question to you is, if you could give 2 pieces of advice for people who want to move to Dubai to start a career in teaching, or continue their career in teaching, what would it be?
I would say, number one, research the schools. So when you see the school that you possibly would like to go onto their website, type in their name, type the name of the school, type reviews, and type. We have Ofsted. It's very similar, but it's called KHDA, which is the same as Ofsted. Check out the report because it kind of gives you a vibe of the ethos of the school. Look at the gallery. I know I'm a sucker for this, but I like to look at the teachers, and I like to look at the children in the school because I kind of get a vibe and I kind of get the feel of the school, and will I see myself in that school? That's one thing. And then secondly, when you're on the verge of actually getting a job, make sure you know the package you're getting. So make sure if it's a case of negotiating how much you're being paid, make sure that the healthcare is in your package. Make sure they decide whether you are being given accommodation or your housing allowance, and how much is that housing allowance. Make sure you know about like the days off. All of these things should be in your contract, because this is the grey area when it comes to education. We don't have unions out here like in the UK. So it's a case of they can choose to do what they want, and we can't rally together to fight that particular cause. So make sure it's really clear you know your package that you're receiving. And then, sorry, I know you said two things, but I'm going to say another one. Just take that leap. Take that leap and, take that leap and actually come out and enjoy it. I didn't have the pleasure of coming to Dubai before I chose to work here. But if you have friends or family out here, then come and visit and see what it's like. Most people love it as a holiday destination. But if you can talk to teachers, they can tell you what it's like as a working place. It's different. So yeah, take that leap.
Oh, that was quite informative, actually. Not that I'm a teacher, but if I wouldn't think about, check your accommodation. I guess as a first moving there for the first time, you might just be excited and kind of miss stuff like accommodation, healthcare, and all those things. Especially coming from the UK and your healthcare is free, you might not think about stuff like that. So that's quite good. But yeah, that brings us to the end of this video. Thank you so much, Vanessa, for coming on here. I'm sure people learned a lot. If they want to move to Dubai, I'm sure they learned a lot. And hopefully I'll put some links that you mentioned below so people can click on it for more information. And yeah, thank you for joining us, really.
Thank you for having me. Honestly, it has been a pleasure, as this isn't something that I'm used to, but I really enjoyed it. So thank you, Vanessa.
And guys, thank you so much for watching. And yeah, as I said, this was like the season finale. So this was the first season. I hope you enjoyed it. And hopefully season 2 will be out soon. So make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and stay on this journey with us. And I'll see you again next time. Bye.